Hello, hello, hello. It's Bonnie here. It is Intuitive Eating Wednesdays. So we're going to just get situated, waiting for people to come on. And while I do that, what I want to do is to get onto my Instagram because I'm going to do Instagram Live while we're doing this training right here in my Facebook group, on my Facebook page, and on YouTube. If you're here with me, please come and say hello. Pop a comment in while I get my Instagram live going. Let me know you're here and where you are calling. You're not calling in, are you? Where you're coming in from. Let me know. I think it's going to work. All right. So I am live now on Instagram. Excellent. Hey, Instagram world. Okay, so Bonnie Giller here. Welcome to Intuitive Eating Wednesdays. And we have a great, great topic today. I'm going to kind of situate myself this way so I can look at the camera for YouTube and Facebook as well as Instagram. So I want to give a moment for you to come in. I would love to interact with you during this live. So all you need to do is utilize the comments section. Make sure that if you're on Facebook with me or YouTube, there's a link for you to click to allow StreamYard, which is my streaming service, to show your name in the comments. So definitely do that. When you come in, pop your name in, let me know you're here. And if you're watching me on Instagram, come say hello, okay? Tell me who's there. Tell me where you're watching me from. I would love to know. So what I want to do is say hello to you guys, right? So yeah, I hope things are going well for you today. Got a big topic today, but before we get started on the topic, I want to just start with a moment of gratitude. If we can all do that, I think that's really important. Because as I was getting ready for today's training, I was thinking about it. I had a couple of client sessions this morning, and I am just so very grateful for the ability to do the work that I'm doing, helping so many women really achieve peace with food in their body. And so I am super grateful for my clients. I'm super grateful for you in my community, and just really grateful that I have found intuitive eating and have been able to help so many people. So what are you grateful for today? Pop a comment in. Let me know what you're especially grateful for today. I think it's really important that we start with some gratitude every time we do a training. I think we're going to do that. So again, if you're here with me, please let me know. Put your name in the comments. Let me know you're here, where you're watching me from. We're going to be talking about what is intuitive eating and what it is not. So it's not just only what is it, but it's really also like what it's not, because there are so many misconceptions that are out there around intuitive eating. I hear them all the time. And, I had a bunch of questions recently, and I just see so many things on social media that I said, let me get in here today and talk about this and clarify this with you. I just want to make sure I'm just switching things up on my screen a little bit, and I want to see your comments when they come in. So give me a minute to just reorganize my screens here. Got a couple of screens open as well as Instagram Live. So, all right, I think we're good to go. Please, if you're here with me and you're watching me, say hello. Let me know who's here. So we're talking about what is intuitive eating and what it is not. So let's just start with what is intuitive eating. So, okay, so if you've been watching me, following me, you probably have an idea of what it is, but I also know that I have a lot of new people in the community who really just learned of this concept of intuitive eating, and therefore I want to just start with explaining that intuitive eating clearly is not something that I created or I made up, right? We have to give credit where credit is due, and it was discovered and created by two registered dietitians, Evelyn Tribole and Elise Resch. And it was created back in 1995, and it was based on their experience working in the field. Hi, Betsy. Oh, you figured it out. You're listening on YouTube. Grateful for getting in touch with my inner wisdom. Amazing. Betsy, I'm so glad to see you. Side point for you, Betsy, head over later to Mighty Network. I put a poll in there for the In Circle, and I'd love to hear your response to that poll. Anyways, so okay, so they created this in 1995, and when I was in school, there was no such thing as intuitive eating. So I learned intuitive eating straight from Evelyn and Elise and incorporated it into my life and thus then my client's life. But another time on my story. But it is a weight-inclusive, evidence-based model. And there's a ton of evidence to back this up, a ton of evidence. By the way, if you're just joining me, we started today's session with some gratitude. Betsy shared her gratitude here on what she's grateful for on Instagram. I would love to hear what you're grateful for as well. Please utilize the comments. It's really helpful and inspirational for everybody watching if we share together. So the research, there's over 120, could even be closer to 130 research studies at this point that demonstrate the benefits of intuitive eating. Now, I will get into what is intuitive eating because I actually know there are some of you watching who are so brand new to this. But I do want to just share some of the initial benefits before we dig deeper. Number one, the studies show an increased self-esteem for those people who are intuitive eaters, a better body image, more life satisfaction, increased optimism and increased well-being, better coping skills, lower rates of disordered eating and eating disorders, which will include binge eating, emotional eating, and so forth. So there's so much research to back it. It is known as a self-care eating framework. Self-care is very important and a very important part of this process. As I was talking with a client this morning, and we began to dig into self-care because self-care is it's a critical foundation to becoming an intuitive eater again. And so within the work that I do with my clients within the Whole Body Trust program, self-care is actually a very important and big piece of that. So it's a self-care eating framework, which integrates, now this is a quote from the authors, it integrates instinct, emotion, and rational thought. So in other words, intuitive eating is a framework to help us attune to our internal body signals, break the cycle of chronic dieting, and heal your relationship with food and your body. It is a process. I want to say that again, a process. That's a very important word. It is a process that enables you to attune to what your body needs, the messages that your body's giving you, because your body does give you a ton of messages, and it allows you to trust your body, because we're going to get into it, but dieting has stripped your body of trust. So intuitive eating helps you get back to a place of trust. Irene, hello. Irene's watching me on Facebook. Glad that you're here, Irene. What are you grateful for? Grateful for a healthy body and the ability to make changes and learning new skills. Amazing. Beautiful. I love it. Thank you so much, Irene, for sharing that. And I hope you're doing well. So why intuitive eating? Why? If you've been chronically dieting for so long, you might think, well, that's what I know. Why should I even learn something new? Why intuitive eating? Well, as I previously mentioned, there's so many benefits. It's extensive, the benefits of intuitive eating. And it's so much more than how we interact with food. So much more. The ripple effects of becoming an intuitive eater again and just learning, the ripple effects to other areas of your life are huge, beneficial, amazing. So let's just look a little bit deeper into what has been demonstrated throughout the research in terms of the benefits, which would be the positive psychological benefits, the physical, the behavioral outcomes and benefits. So that's what we're going to look at. Let me just look at the comments here. Okay. So psychological benefits. Improve body satisfaction and body image. Now look, when you're dieting, that actually rips you down. Now, yes, it rips your body image down. And you may say, no, Bonnie, when I lose weight, I feel so much better. I look better. I feel better. I carry myself better because I'm so much prouder. Okay, I get it. But here's the problem, right? 95 to 97% of people who lose weight, intentionally lose weight through dieting and a restriction, will regain that weight back. So where is your body image and your self-esteem when you regain that weight back, right? So in the long term, you don't have improved body image or body satisfaction. But with intuitive eating, we see in the literature the psychological benefits are improved body satisfaction and body image, and a decreased prevalence of depression. and protection against overly restricted diet messages. You know, once you become an intuitive eater, again, I say again, why? Because you were born an intuitive eater, okay? So protection against overly restrictive diet messages, because when you have cleared out all of the negative diet voices, you're able to now hear and spot diet culture messages in all forms, and then know what to do with it, right? We can get more into that a little bit later. Behavioral benefits. Well, decreased eating disorder and disordered eating behaviors. So, you know, I said before the statistic about 95 to 97% of people who lose weight intentionally through dieting and restriction will regain that weight back. Well, you'll say, no, I know people that have lost the weight and kept it off. And I'll say, yes, there's 3 to 5% who do keep that off, but they more than likely do that with some form of disordered eating behaviors or over exercising and such. I've told this story before, but I'll say it again in case some of you have not heard about it. There's a group that I'm in, and they were talking about intuitive eating and all this about weight loss, and somebody posted and said that, yes, she's one of those people who lost a lot of weight through dieting and has kept it off for a certain amount of years. However, it's her life's work and she has no freedom. And that is exactly what we're talking about. And so she was not positive about that experience at all, right? So most, or I'll say a majority of the people will exhibit disordered eating behaviors and thoughts, not with intuitive eating. It actually has been shown to decrease disordered eating behaviors and increases nutrition choices that honor your health. Physical benefits, or medical benefits, we've seen an association between intuitive eating and improved cholesterol levels. So total cholesterol, LDL, HDL, and so on. A positive impact on blood pressure, inflammation markers, and so forth. So there is definitely lots of benefits. So let's talk about the basis of intuitive eating. So for those of you who are familiar with it, then maybe this is a review for you. For those of you very new to it, then this is new to you, and just kind of listen up, because it's really, there are 10 principles, okay? Intuitive eating is rooted in 10 principles. Now, don't worry. In a few minutes, I'm going to go through this, but in a few minutes, we're also going to tackle what intuitive eating is not. So we'll get there, okay? So the first principle of reject the diet mentality, this means making the conscious decision to never diet again, right? To never diet again. Reject the diet mentality that you have. So the diet industry, well, we know the diet industry, right? A multi-gazillion dollar industry. It pushes out diet after diet and diet product after diet product, and it never really helps anyone lose the weight and keep it off. It's generally not sustainable. Again, as I said, in the majority of cases. In fact, the messages and the products and the advice that is often pushed out from this multi-billion-dollar diet industry causes more harm than good to both your physical health and your mental health. So reject the diet mentality is not necessarily an easy principle if you've been dieting for years and even decades, but it is a very important principle that I always start with my clients, helping you to make the decision that you will no longer let the diet industry push these diets and these false promises onto you. And you will learn to make that commitment to never diet again and to live diet free. Again, I know I don't say any of this is easy, and that's where support is so important. Principle number 2, honor your hunger. So honor your hunger, you know, diet rules and external cues like a diet plan, pre-printed menus, and so on. They tell you what to eat, when to eat, how much to eat. That is not what we do with intuitive eating, right? We don't need to follow those rules. Instead, you will be turning inwardly, internally, to listen, to hear, to relearn what hunger sounds like, and allow those hunger signals to guide you in terms of when I'm going to eat, how much I'm going to eat, and so forth. So it's about honoring the hunger, honoring the signals that you were actually born with. Now, if you've dieted for a long time, it's quite possible that those hunger signals are very silent. But there is a way to ignite those signals back again. Another principle is making peace with food. So I'm sure you've heard all over the internet and just in general, like all about this terminology, making peace with food. So wrapped up in this making peace with food is giving yourself the unconditional permission to eat. That is a very important concept within intuitive eating. And I know that that is a very scary concept for a lot of people. Now, if you've been on this journey, if you're not new to intuitive eating, could you pop a comment about the unconditional permission to eat? When you first heard that, was it scary? What do you mean? Don't have conditions on my food? That is so scary for so many people, and I understand that, okay? Acknowledging and accepting this whole concept and really being able to make peace with that concept and trust. It's all about trust. It's all about trust. It does allow you to just eliminate all of the good, bad, can't eat foods, right? And it allows you to ultimately learn what you like to eat and what will satisfy you, and really does lead to that food freedom and peace with the decision making that you generally make around food. We make a lot of food decisions, a lot of food decisions every single day. Okay. Hey, love coach Dasha. Thanks for joining on Instagram. Okay. So she's saying it's scary, but it's attractive, right? It does. It's attractive. It's like, tell me more. How do I do that? Right? It is very scary. So I want to acknowledge that. I want to acknowledge you, and I want to acknowledge that. And anybody else here watching on Facebook or YouTube. Yes, it's scary. It's scary to take conditions off your food when you've been taught, here are the rules. Follow the rules and you'll achieve what you are looking for. Weight loss, dream body, and so forth, right? So it's scary to give that up. But providing and giving yourself unconditional permission to eat will ultimately bring you to a place of having peace with food. Okay. The next principle I want to touch on, let's see. Irene says it's very scary. Weight gain. Yes. I understand that, Irene. It is scary because you're afraid if you give yourself unconditional permission to eat, then you probably won't stop eating and you will gain weight, right? I know that's probably what you're feeling and you're thinking. However, you're saying, but loving the freedom so far, eating what my body wants and needs, right? So with each eating experience you have, where you provide yourself that unconditional permission, you're building trust. And with each thread of trust, you slowly rebuild all of your eating experiences and you start to feel that freedom and taste the freedom. Thank you so much, Irene, for sharing. Everybody else, please also comment because it really is helpful for the learning. Share what's on your mind. Share your thoughts. Share what is coming up for you. Another principle of intuitive eating that we work through in this process is called challenge the food police. So I know you probably know the food police, the little voices that are in your head, right? Do you have little voices in your head that talk to you saying, oh, eat this, but don't eat that? Or how can you eat that? Shame on you. You know, it's pushing guilt and shame when you make certain choices or you decide to have the extra scoop of ice cream. By the way, if you don't know me, most of my clients do know me. I love ice cream, really a very important food in my life. But the food police will make you feel guilty, really guilty. So the food police, they come in many different forms and they really spit out negative messages to you. And they replay all your food rules over and over again in your head. And it makes eating so much less enjoyable. Yes or no? Does the food police and all the other negative, destructive eating voices that you hear in your head, does that impact the enjoyment you have in your food? Most of the time, I'm sure the answer is going to be yes. Here's the thing. Those voices are the voices of the cognitive distortions of the diet industry and diet culture. They are not a reflection of you. They are not a reflection of your worth. And one of the things that we really want to do in this process is to challenge those negative voices, the food police and all the others. I do teach you guys how to do that within my Whole Body Trust program. Discover the satisfaction factor, another very, very important principle of intuitive eating. Discover the satisfaction factor. So while intuitive eating does focus on hunger and fullness, the hunger and fullness is very different than the feeling of satisfaction. Believe it or not, you can be physically satiated, physically full. I'm not talking overfull, but comfortably full, but not feel satisfied. If you leave a meal unsatisfied, it generally causes you to want more and to start looking around. I need something. I need something. Did you ever experience that? Where you finished your meal, your belly is like, okay, I'm satisfied, I'm full, comfortable or not, but I still want something more. Satisfaction is a key concept here in the hub of intuitive eating. When you prioritize eating what you really want, not what someone else wants you to eat, the feelings of satisfaction and pleasure are generally met, and you feel really satisfied both physically and psychologically at the end of your meal. So we learn how to discover the satisfaction factor outside of the diet culture rules. Another principle is feel your fullness. So just like sometimes you can't or you don't utilize the hunger signals to guide your eating because you're so wrapped up in the rules that are telling you when to eat, what to eat, and so on. Same thing with fullness. You may not be stopping your meal at a place of comfortable fullness. You might eat to a point of overfull. So tell me a little bit about your experience with stopping your meal. What indicates for you the end of your meal? Is it when your plate is clean? Is it when you feel really full, uncomfortable, bloated? What for you determines when your meal ends? So you guys on Instagram, you guys on YouTube, on Facebook, tell me. I'm just going to take a quick drink while you answer that question. Irene says, yes, want something sweet and cold after meals. Had to talk to myself to honor my fullness. Okay, so it comes with practice, Irene. So give yourself the space and the time. It comes with practice. Acknowledging this and just being aware of this is really important. Another principle is cope with your emotions with kindness. Emotional eating is very common and something many people struggle with. So I want to say, number one, sometimes, okay, let me say it this way. We're emotional human beings. We have emotions, and that's okay. And on an occasion, if you want to soothe with some ice cream and you stay present and mindful and then you move on, it's okay. If it's one strategy in a toolbox of strategies on how to deal with emotions. If food is your number one and only tool to manage emotions, that's when it becomes destructive. And so coping with your emotions with kindness is really when you're using food to fill a need, to fill a void, or to cope with uncomfortable feelings like anger, loneliness, boredom, and so on. And remember, it doesn't address the larger issues at hand. It just doesn't. So intuitive eating really does help you discover, number one, what you're really feeling, what you really need, and how to learn to cope with these emotions, even if it means learning how to feel them, and as difficult as that might be, and how to do that with kindness and self-compassion. Another principle is respect your body. The diet industry and the diet culture messages that are out there have promoted this ideal of the perfect body. We know it as the thin ideal, but it's far from the truth. Bodies come in all different shapes and sizes. There is no one ideal, thin, perfect body. No, everybody has a different body. Like everybody has different heights, different hair color, eye color. There's no way that everybody is supposed to look a certain way. And unfortunately, that's the message out there. And it's driving so many people to harm themselves through constant dieting and trying to shape and sculpt and change their bodies and so on. So intuitive eating really helps you adopt a positive mindset around your body image, and respecting it where it is here and now. It doesn't mean it might not change, but let's stop being so harsh on our bodies. My clients, one after the other, will say is once they just take away that harshness and the negative talk around their body, it opens up this path towards just feeling so much better themselves. Remember, your worth is not dictated by a number on a scale, a size, on clothing or anything like that. It's just not. And so this respect your body principle is key. Now, then we move into the final two principles of intuitive eating, which are not necessarily principles of which you're going to be attuning to. The first piece of all these principles I went through, right? That's the attunement process of your inner self, your inner world. These are external. So this would be movement, feel the difference. So, with intuitive eating, the purpose, the reason to move your body is completely shifted, right? We're not focusing on movement and exercise to burn calories and to lose weight. No, we're engaging in movement for many, many different purposes. And, there's so many benefits. Let me leave it at that, because so many people watching me right now are still in the chronic dieting stage. And so I'm going to save movement and the last two principles for another time. But let me just say that exercise is not a punishment for something you've eaten. It's not a chore that I got to just get through it, right? We're going to really embrace movement from a place of joy and gentleness and mindfulness. And the final principle is honor your health with gentle nutrition. So here's the thing. Many people think, what do you mean you're not going to tell me what to eat? Like when we start the intuitive eating journey. What do you mean you're not going to tell me what to eat? I don't know how to eat if I'm not dieting. And I say, well, actually, you do know how to eat. Many of my clients come to me and they could write the book on nutrition. Nutrition is very important. Please do not think that because the authors placed gentle nutrition as the final principle, that nutrition is not important. It is important. And my first degree is in nutrition. So I honor, respect nutrition tremendously. But if you start tapping into nutrition and guidelines and health organization recommendations too soon in this process, when you're still sitting with a strong diet mentality, all of these nutrition thoughts and rules or guidelines aren't going to be heard as rules. And you're back to square one. So gentle nutrition, there is a place for it. And at the point where you are able to then say, let's listen, tell me more about nutrition, you'll be listening to it through an intuitive eater's ear, not a dieter's ear. And you'll be able to make the choices that honor your health because you want to. So that's a bit about what intuitive eating is. I'm giving you that overview. I'm going to go a little longer today because it's a very important topic. I want to talk now, I want to shift to what intuitive eating is not, because it's also a very important conversation to have. Before I do that, share your thoughts. Does anybody have any thoughts or questions on what I've so far went over? Let me know in the comments, and I'll just keep an eye out for that. So what is intuitive? Oh, no, let me rephrase that. What intuitive eating is not? Well, it's not a diet. And I recently had a conversation with a few people that I thought intuitive eating is just another diet. No, it is not a diet. There's no counting calories. There's no daily weigh-ins. There's no list of foods you can eat, you can't eat. That's all diet stuff, right? Those practices are discouraged within intuitive eating. So it is not a diet. It is not the hunger fullness diet. So people say, okay, so it's not a diet. So it's all about eating when I'm hungry and stopping when I'm full. Okay, yeah, that's a part of it, right? But don't turn that into a diet, which unfortunately many people do, right? Yes, as intuitive eaters or intuitive eaters in training, you might be checking your hunger and fullness signals a little more regularly, right? But it's so much more to that, so much more than that. Because what happens is if you just focus on hunger and fullness, and let's say you eat when you're not necessarily hungry, you're like, oh, I blew it. You see, there I go again. And those negative voices start up on you. I can't even eat when I'm hungry. I can't even do this, is what I hear a lot. So it is not the hunger fullness diet. It is about approaching your meals with curiosity and not judgment. And it's asking yourself questions. Am I hungry? How hungry am I? Do I want, a little bit more? How will I feel after I eat so and so and so forth? So it's asking you questions. It's approaching your meal with curiosity and not judgment, because many dieters, what do? They approach their meal with judgment. Should I? Shouldn't I eat this, eat not, eat that? And intuitive eating also allows you to learn from situations, which I think is really important. So very important, right? So that if you do leave a meal in a bit of an overfull state, you're not judging it. You're learning from it. There are very important lessons to be learned from these eating experiences that you have as you're learning to become an intuitive eater again. Okay, number 3, intuitive eating is not a non-dieting weight loss approach. So people get it. Okay, intuitive eating is not a diet. I get that, Bonnie. All right. But it's a way to lose weight. No, intuitive eating does not put any emphasis on weight loss or any pressure to lose weight. The conversation, when the conversation around body weight comes up, it comes up from a weight neutral lens. In other words, intuitive eating is promoting physical and mental well-being, regardless of what your body size is. So, will I lose weight on intuitive eating? Is something I hear. I actually have a YouTube video on that. So later, go to my YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe and you can find that video. But anyway, I don't know. Maybe you will. Maybe you won't, right? It's not a weight loss diet. Now, there are many people out there that are promoting intuitive eating as a weight loss approach. Please run very far away from them. It's unethical to do that. It is not a weight loss approach. We don't know what your body will do. If somebody, I've talked about this before, but I know we have some new people here, so I want to mention this again. If somebody comes into this process and this journey from having an eating disorder, and they have restricted and they've suppressed their body weight and have kept their body under what their natural set point weight is, then possibly they're going to gain weight back to the natural set point. Somebody else might lose weight. Other people might stabilize. What I can tell you will happen is your weight will land where it lands. It will land somewhere, probably, right? You will stop the weight loss gain cycle, the yo-yoing up and down, which, by the way, I had a conversation with a friend the other day about this, because he was saying, yeah, but my wife needs to lose weight because of her health, because he's been on her quite a bit. And I said, no, don't give me that about health, because you know what? The yo-yoing up and down, losing 30, 40, 50, gaining 30, 40, 50, losing, gaining, like that yo-yo, that's actually worse on your health than maintaining a higher weight. It's very interesting. We could talk about that on another session. But anyway, so we don't know what your body's going to do. Only your body knows what it's going to do. When you take the pressure off of yourself, I have to lose weight, I have to lose weight, I have to lose weight, your body will move into what it feels it needs to do. Then, of course, we will want to talk about, okay, wherever my body landed, what do I feel about it? And that's a whole nother conversation about body image healing and so forth. So I just want to say to you this, that intuitive eating doesn't promise anything in regards to your weight. There's no expectation about it. Your body will do what it needs to do. I'm happy to have that conversation privately if anybody wants to learn more about that. And the other thing that intuitive eating is not, it's not the eat whatever I want, whenever I want mindset. So a lot of people also go with that, like, oh, you're doing intuitive eating, that means you see it, want it, eat it. Not at all. That is not what it is at all. Yes, we've talked about intuitive eating, promoting the concept of giving yourself unconditional permission to eat. So yes, I can eat what I want in a way that feels great, but it's not meant to be a free-for-all. Now, at the beginning of your intuitive eating journey, it is very common for people to, eat a lot of the foods they've previously forbidden, restricted, right? But that drive to eat in that way does decrease over time. And this is why support is so important. You don't need to do this alone. Okay, so over time, you will normalize these once forbidden foods, and you will view them and all foods as neutral. So you'll see, you won't have the food fear around those foods anymore. You just won't. So I hope this kind of gives you a bit of an idea about what intuitive eating is and what it's not. If you are very new to this, if this is like, tell me in the comments, if you're with me live or on replay, tell me if in the comments if this is all very new concepts for you. If it is, and you want to get a taste of what intuitive eating is, dip your toes into it and get the awesomeness of this, then I invite you to check out intuitiveeatingbasics.com. Okay, so go there and check that out, intuitiveeatingbasics.com, because that is my sort of like, get a taste of intuitive eating course that you can check out, and you can do it on your own at any point in time, that you want it. It's available all the time for you. It does have a community aspect, so you're never alone. And I would highly encourage you to check that out. If you have a basic understanding of what intuitive eating is and you want to go deeper with that, then I would suggest getting on a call with me to talk about the Whole Body Trust program. That's my program where I take you through all of these principles of intuitive eating and all of, are you still there? Yeah, I take through all the principles of intuitive eating, and we do step by step. So depends where you are. So you can head to talkwithbonnie.com. I have a couple of slots, I think, open today and tomorrow. I'll be taking a few days off next week, but if you want to just get on a complimentary call to learn more about this, I'm happy to talk to you about and see, let you know what your options are. But in any event, I'm here to answer any questions. So what kind of questions do you have for me that I can answer for you right now? Let's see if I can get that link back up there for you. intuitiveeatingbasics.com. Here we go. There we go. intuitiveeatingbasics.com. That is the link if you want to take a quick peek at how to, my introductory course for intuitive eating, to get a taste and dip your toes into it. Happy to talk about that, as well as my Whole Body Trust program. Just go to talkwithbonnie.com and we can schedule a time to talk. By the way, if you go to talkwithbonnie.com and you don't see any times available for you, then you can just DM me on Facebook, or you can email me, Bonnie@dietfreeradiantme.com, and we'll find a time for you so we can get on the phone and talk. We started today's session with gratitude. So many people shared what they were grateful for. On replay, come share what you're grateful for. I shared with you that I am grateful for the opportunity to be able to teach intuitive eating, to be able to really help people who've been chronically dieting, who have lost the trust in themselves, come back to a place of trust and peace. I am super grateful for that. And please do share what you're grateful for as well. So if there are no more questions, I do hope that this was valuable for you. If you replay this, come and ask questions. And I hope to get on the phone with you. Talkwithbonnie.com. Set up a complimentary phone call. We could talk about the next step for you. Or head right over to intuitiveeatingbasics.com and check out that self-paced introductory course. Just as an aside, my Whole Body Trust Intuitive Eating for a Peaceful Life deep dive intuitive eating program is a program that I do one-on-one with clients, and I also run it once a year as a group. That group is not going to run again until January probably. So if you rather learn in a group setting, then I would recommend starting with intuitiveeatingbasics.com, and then, or the Intuitive Eating Basics course. And then at the end of that basics course, you can then move into the Whole Body Trust Group program or into the membership program that I run, the Intuitive Nutrition Circle. But you do have to have a prerequisite of the Intuitive Eating Basics course to get into the membership program, which is a low monthly cost program. So if you're not looking to invest one-on-one right now, because that's not easy for you, my recommendation is get the support you need. Start with Intuitive Eating Basics, and then you can move into the low-cost monthly membership where you'll continue to get support and learn. And when I open the group program for Whole Body Trust in the new year, you're going to be welcome to join that at a special discounted rate if you're part of the membership program. Okay, so that's all I have for now. I hope it's helpful. Please come back and post questions, and I will see you next time on Intuitive Eating Wednesdays. Have a great, great day, everybody.